gig workers. Now, gig economy workers are battling high physical and mental stress, long working hours, earnings that fall short of meeting expenses. Arbitrary deactivation by platforms is having a severe impact on gig workers across the country. A report based on a survey has found that nearly 83% cab drivers reported working for more than 10 hours a day without taking a single day off. The report released on Monday, titled Prisoners on Wheels, is based on a survey by University of Pennsylvania and the Indian Federation of App-Based Transport Workers. On the net income question, 43% cab drivers reported a net monthly earning of below 15,000, while 34% delivery persons reported a net monthly income of around 10,000 rupees. Now, this has of course led to difficulty in managing household expenses, as has been experienced by over 70% cab drivers as well as delivery persons. The major reasons for such low earnings are unfair fares, commission rates and arbitrary deductions by aggregator companies. A lot of gig workers are struggling at the moment, which was once seen as a sunrise. Employment sector is now coming out and reporting some inconsistencies and deep-rooted issues when it comes to employment, one that needs to be catered to and need to be dealt with very, very strongly. Krishna, now these figures, they paint a picture which was not so rosy. I remember about 2 years ago when we started talking about gig economy, we were talking about alternatives, we were talking about freelancing, and we were talking about people who need not have a fixed job but could continue earning a fixed income. They were not a part of the formal employment structure, or maybe a part of the formal employment structure, but would not draw a provident, would not have some sense of security for the future, but had some income that they could draw upon. Now, it does look like at this point in time that this entire sector of gig economy is plagued with a lot of problems.
And that's probably because, we are still at a very early stage of developing this gig economy. Bear in mind, as the beginning of the year 2024, there are around 7 million people part of the gig economy of India. 7 million workers who are gig economy workers across all sectors. And that number of 7 million is set to go up to 25 million by the year 2030 with a compounded annual growth rate of around 12% every year. So eventually, looking at a stage where the number of gig workers today are going to be triple or more than triple, almost go quadruple over the course of the next 6 years or so. What I'm also hoping that happens along with this growth is the development of the gig economy structures, the pay structures, the social security structures that is put in place for contract workers or gig economy workers. What we don't have right now is the fact that there is no, you are contracted to work at a particular sum of money. You come in, take a sum of money and work, and without any particular in times or out times. If you have to make a certain cut up on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, you might have to work even 15, 18 hours a day. The report also talks about violence faced by gig workers as well. The kind of stories that are coming about people who are deliveries, by delivery workers for the famous delivery platforms, food delivery platforms being abused by
Absolutely.
people.
I was about to come to that. It's not just about whether they have any surety of whether they're going to have a job next day. It's also the way they are treated. Now, we're talking specifically about cab delivery, work. We were talking about people who drive cabs, so cab drivers, and we're talking about delivery workers, so perhaps people who deliver items from door to door. There are other gig workers, of course, but all of them have a similar sense of feeling that they're not respected the way traditional workers in a company are respected, and their rights are not protected.
Right. So the day we realize the fact that now we are so proud of it in India, or we're so finding it so convenient that in case we haven't ordered groceries, you can just wake up in the morning just before you go to brush. You can order your bread and your eggs, and by the time you're finished brushing, the bread and the egg reaches you to have breakfast immediately. But do we respect those people who bring that bread and eggs to us? That's a matter of concern for society to keep in mind. That's one. And two is for
it's important you mentioned that 10-minute delivery, because a lot of them who were surveyed did not like the fact that they are asked to deliver items, because they're supposed to drive rashly, they're supposed to reach customers on time, they're penalized if they don't do so. So they don't like the fact that 10-minute delivery is making lives easy for people, customers, not so much for them.
Because if you were to be on the roads along with them, you would be, driving alongside with them. You'll be looking at them going, why the hell are you rushing so much?
Absolutely.
You're going to create you're going to create an accident with the way you're driving and rushing around. Whereas the person receiving the delivery is saying that you're 1 minute late, you're 2 minutes late. So this is a bit of a conundrum that we as people have to be more aware of. That is one end, and the other thing is for employers. How are these people compensated? What is the kind of protection that you can give to these people, both in terms of the economic stability as well as the way they are treated by people? So a lot of thought needs to be put into the way gig economy workers or gig workers are treated by their employers.
Absolutely.
And by the people, the clients that they're servicing as well. So at both levels, they're facing extreme difficulties. I remember, when pizza delivery first came into India, Shweta.
The 30-minute delivery.
30-minute delivery, which we were talking about 20 years ago. At that point in time, when those pizza delivery boys were like rushing around in their scooters in the traffic, they used to be like, see, this is what happens,
right.
With the consumerism, with the advent of consumerism. This is the kind of, they have to drive so crazily because they have to do a 30-minute delivery.
Absolutely.
From 30-minute delivery, we're talking about a 10-minute delivery. So, you really, there needs to be more justice delivered to these gig economy workers.
Absolutely. Some checks and balances are needed for a gig delivery worker. It's getting increasingly difficult. They are battling mental health issues. They're battling physical problems. They are being made to do things that they're not very happy doing, work for longer hours without really protection from the labor law. This is an important story. It goes on to talk about how 7 million people in this country are treated in the way they work. Perhaps we need better checks and balances.